So hi, I'm Imogen and I'm the mentorship coordinator for Women in STEM. So I'm organising the student support scheme, and I'm here with our two wonderful course reps for NATSCI, and so they're here to offer you a bit more advice about starting your degree at Durham in first year. So would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, so I'm Samantha. I did my undergraduate degree in natural sciences with biology and chemistry at Josephine Butler College, and now I'm doing my master's by research in just biology.
Chloe, I'm a fourth year, so I'm doing the integrated masters. My college is also Butler, and I do maths and physics within the natural sciences course. So you've got a good coverage between us.
Yeah, I say, and in my first year, I also did one computer science module. If anyone's interested in perhaps trying that out. Obviously, it didn't work out very well for me because I didn't carry on doing comp sci, but I think I'm glad I did it.
I think it's totally fine to take more in the first year and generalize. Like NATSCI has a lot of freedom, and it's absolutely fine to change your mind.
Yeah, because I even know people who started off doing biology and chemistry, but they also took that one computer science module, and then they've actually ended up finishing their degree in chemistry and computer science. So I think that's the really nice thing about the NATSCI program, is that, like I say, there is that flexibility to try new things that you're not sure about, that you might not necessarily have studied at A level.
Absolutely.
So how did you guys find starting off in first year with lectures and labs and that kind of thing compared to sixth form?
I think the way you're given information at university in the form of lectures and labs and tutorials is sort of fundamentally different to how you're fed information when you're at secondary school. So I think I would have wanted to know that it's okay to not understand things immediately, and they are teaching you quite difficult concepts. I think first year is about learning how to learn at university in that sort of independent manner.
Yeah, it's absolutely definitely more independent, and you're not guided as much, so your learning is very much up to you. So I think one of the most important things, especially with NATSCI, with you being a member of different departments, and they all do it in different ways, so you really need to be organized and know important dates, when your assignments are, when they're set, when they're due. So try and keep organized. There's no best way to be organized. I think you have to figure out in first year
exactly
how that works for you.
Yeah, no, I say read absolutely every piece of paper they give you. Go through Duo with a fine-tooth comb and read every document and put every single date in your planner. Because like I say, they might say that there's some communication between departments, but generally there isn't that much, and you will have deadlines that do fall quite close to each other. I think that's just an unfortunate reality of
and unlike school, you don't have teachers being remember this, it's on you.
Exactly.
You have to
And like I said, I think in terms of learning, you do need to sort of try out lots of different ways. I think personally, with everything being online, there's definitely a temptation to listen to lectures and pause them and start them again and just transcribe what the lecturer is saying. But I don't think that's how that content is meant to be consumed. I think if you don't understand it, then I would first try and go to a textbook, then speak to your friends, then go to the lecturer. It is tempting just to listen to things back constantly, but I don't think that's the most productive way of doing it.
Yeah, and even if you think the thing that you don't understand isn't important, you'll find that if you don't fix the thing you don't understand, then you'll get deeper and deeper into not knowing what's going on. And it'll be more terrifying to ask for help, because you'll feel you're really behind. So you might be a bit scared to ask the lecturer for help. I definitely was guilty of that in first year, and I didn't ask a lecturer for help. I did never send them an email until third year, because I was scared. But don't do that. They are there to help you.
Yeah, exactly.
So ask for help when you need it, please.
I think quite a good way to ask for help is usually to if you can find a question in a textbook or something that sort of is using the concept that you don't understand. I think that's quite a good way to get them to give you a salient explanation that's easy to follow. I think if you send them a general question.
That's a really good point, actually. It's difficult to act, like, you might need help, but it's difficult to find the right question.
Yeah, I think in terms of textbooks, which ones you should get. I think there'll usually be like one really like thick, chunky textbook. So in chemistry, that's a textbook called Claydon. And then the one that I liked for biology was just called Molecular Biology. I think if you just have easy access to that one textbook and see how you get on.
Yeah, I would say don't get textbooks until your lecturers be like, you'll need this textbook. So
yeah, exactly.
I found for physics, there were a few textbooks that were helpful. In first year, that's like university physics, I think it's called. There's the one that you need for first year labs about uncertainties. And then the quantum mechanics Griffiths textbook is really good. You don't do a lot of quantum mechanics in first year, but you will do a lot following from that. And I feel like that is like the go-to textbook. Whereas for maths, I don't use textbooks that much because lecturers do like really detailed lecture notes. So a textbook, I'll go to it if the way they've explained some like concept or the way they've proved some theorem or whatever is a bit confusing to me, then there might be a textbook that explains it in a slightly different way that helps me understand it. So it's more of a secondary thing for me in maths, but physics, I'll go to it a bit earlier. So yeah, it'll change from module to module.
I was just thinking when you mentioned quantum mechanics, so the first thing you do in chemistry in first year is quantum mechanics, but because I come from a biology background and I don't even have an A level in physics, I was just like, oh, I don't understand this. This is so awful. What have I done? Why have I chosen this degree? But I think like part of doing natural sciences is that you do sort of get a broad overview of both subjects, even the bits you wouldn't necessarily have studied if I was say doing a degree in biochemistry. I hated quantum mechanics so much. So how do you organize yourself during the day, Chloe?
So I actually like to keep a bullet journal.
Ooh,
so I'll have like all of my lectures set in there. And after a lecture, I will always be sure to like read through the lecture. If there's anything like an example, I'll make sure I'm able to actually like produce that by myself. And if I can't, then I'll try like a different example to try and like figure it out. So basically, I want to make sure that I understand the lecture and I also like summarize it before the next one happens, because I definitely did not do that in first year. And I found like, you know, after I'd kind of just went to like 3 lectures but didn't really like make sure I did the content, by the 4th one I was like, what is going on?
I know, because that's the other annoying thing with natural sciences sometimes, is that the timetables don't quite line up properly, do they? Because I remember in my first year I had like an 8-hour day on a Monday, like 8 hours of lectures, and then the rest of the week it was just like 2 hours a day. So I think it's definitely you have to manage your time effectively in that manner. So what I do is I have a spreadsheet, so I break down the week into half-hour chunks. Then I write down what I've been doing, like each of those half hours, and then I tally it up so that I know how much time I've spent on each module. Because I'm not very good at regulating myself. You know, if I find one module particularly easy, then I'll just do that one module and sort of bury my head in the sand a bit.
And ignore the one that's difficult. I think people do it in different ways. You have to find what works for you. Is the time to do that. And don't be like, if you started like one way of organizing yourself and one way of doing things and it's not working, just change it. Don't get like too upset that your spreadsheet is not going to be useful anymore. Like, get over it, move on. If it works better, then it's worthwhile, you know. Mistakes are a good thing.
Yeah, especially in first year, because like I say, ultimately that is what first year is about, is sort of getting those key foundational concepts down, and also, like I say, learning how to manage yourself in this sort of new environment.
So did you guys have labs at all in your first year? How would you advise the new freshers on dealing with those?
So the labs in chemistry and the labs in biology were very, very different. In chemistry, it's very structured, and they sort of put the fear of God into you a little bit. They definitely keep an eye on you, and you have to hand in a lab report every single week. Whereas in biology, they're definitely a bit more chill. So I think it's just learning how to work in those two different environments and not carrying over habits from one lab into the other.
I had physics labs in first year, which I'm trying to remember, but I can't remember them a whole lot because I would just remember that I wasn't the biggest fan.
Yeah.
I took like a more theoretical mathematical physics route. But they were quite structured. You'd have like 1-2 hour lab session every week, I think. And they'd set like preparation work before that. And then after that,
the prep work.
Measurements and uncertainties and any, graphs that you need to do. And you'll be working probably with like other people. So make sure you work well and like contribute to like any teamwork, work well with other people. Don't be like afraid to like talk with other people. And also they have like supervisors in the lab that are there to help you. Ask them, because then at the beginning they're not assessing you on what you're doing, so they're not going to mark you down if you ask them a question. In fact, it's probably a good thing to ask you a question if you don't know how to use like the oscilloscope or whatever. Just ask, because you'll, instead of spending like half an hour trying to figure it out, and that'll take time away from like the time you have to data collect.
Did you keep the same split of maths and physics throughout your degree, or did you tend more towards one than the other?
I didn't. I started off 50-50. So first year I had 50-50, and second year I think I did 2. And then third year I favoured maths more. So I think I had like 66% maths, 33%, and 33% physics. And then this year I only do 1 physics module. So I have tended towards the maths more. But there are a lot of physicsy modules within the maths department. So I found that I'm still studying the same amount of physics. I'm just doing it in a kind of a different way, a very like mathematical way. I think I just preferred like the methods that the maths department use for various things. So definitely like have a look at the modules that are in multiple departments, because you might find that there's the content that you want to learn just in a different way.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with that. Maybe I shouldn't go on record saying this, but I think I didn't particularly enjoy my course in first year, just because biology and chemistry are taught in very different ways. And in chemistry, it's very much about getting those key foundational chemical concepts down, whereas obviously biology is an applied science. But I found that as I got deeper into my degree, there were more modules I could take in chemistry that related to biology. So in my final year, I did 80-40 chemistry to biology. But I took like advanced biological chemistry and bioactive chemistry, and I wrote my dissertation in biological chemistry. So I think that's a good point, that like say you can sort of study your other subject in a different department from like sort of a different perspective.
Yeah, just be aware of like what other departments have to offer.
Yeah,
I think that NatSci offers any like additional challenges compared to like other STEM subjects.
Like I say, I think especially in the first year when they're trying to get that like that theoretical foundation down, I think it can be quite difficult to find links between your subjects. But I think there's also the issue of time management and sort of keeping track of everything. And like I say, because the two departments might teach in different ways. So like in chemistry, we had tutorials every single week, and we had a worksheet to do, whereas in biology we're sort of left to your own devices. I think the other massive difference between biology and chemistry was the style of exam. I don't know if the style of exam is different between maths and physics. Not
really.
Oh, okay.
They have slightly different structures, but it is still like a long exam at the end of the year and a little bit of coursework throughout the year, depending on the module. So it's quite similar between maths and physics.
Yeah, so in biology, you do quite a lot of coursework, and it's all like written coursework. So it's like data analysis. There might be like 1 or 2 lab reports. And then your final exams, you have to write essays, which is quite different from the style of exam that I was used to sitting before I came to uni. And then in chemistry, all of your coursework is lab reports. And then you have like the big long exams at the end of the year where you have to do short answer questions. So I think that's a challenge, is sort of, like I say, synthesizing the information so that you can answer two very different types of exam question at the end of the year. Did you do any fun extracurriculars, Chloe?
Yeah, I did. At the beginning of like Freshers Week, I got involved with like lots of things that I was interested in, and then I quickly realized the ones that I really wanted to commit myself to, and that was swing dancing and singing in various different choirs. Also, especially this year with everything being online, it's going to be quite difficult to find friends on your course.
Yeah,
but it's obviously super important to have friends and have people you can have a laugh with and feel safe with, and just relax, unwind from all like the academic stresses you'll have. So yeah, get involved with societies and like definitely commit yourself to ones that you're really passionate about. Get involved with execs, things like that, because they'll become your family, and yeah, it's super important.
When I was in my undergraduate, I was the tech director at Josephine Butler, and I think, like I say, these leadership positions do genuinely they do change you for the better. I think that, yeah, I'd really recommend getting involved with like something. Okay, so what would you do when you were struggling with perhaps with your degree, Chloe? You didn't. Who would you turn to?
What I actually did was not a lot, basically, and I just struggled for like a long time. But there are support groups out there like this one, the Women in STEM support group. Get involved, reach out if you need it, reach out even if you don't, because you might, it's there if when you do need it, or you might not realize that you need it. But actually it helps you in ways you wouldn't expect. Yeah, there's help there, just do it.
Yeah, definitely. No, like I said, I sort of wish I'd reached out a bit more as well. So I got on well with my academic advisors. I'd really recommend speaking to them. Good. Yeah, I don't understand people who don't speak to their academic advisors, because they're such a valuable resource. But the other thing is, I think it is good to speak to older students and sort of discuss things with them, because we've done it all before. So I think we can sort of offer you some valuable perspective on, like, I don't want to say what's important, but we can sort of tell you that we struggled to understand things in first year as well. But obviously we're here now and we're in our fourth years and we love our subjects. And
all the students are like really useful, because we still remember like the feelings, unlike academic advisors who've been a little while since they've been at uni, so we can definitely like relate more. And it also feels a little bit more like informal. I feel I was scared to speak to like academic staff because I didn't want to bother them. They're doing really important work, etc., which is stupid to think that, because they're there to help you. So absolutely do reach out if you need it, but that can be to whoever we feel comfortable with. So us, your course reps in the student support scheme, academic advisors, other friends, lecturers, just whoever you feel comfortable talking to.
I think as a final word of advice, I would say use first year to the best of your advantage to learn how to learn at university, and make the most of the spare time you might have to join lots of societies and meet lots of new people.
Yeah, that's good advice. I think my final advice would be make the most of your time, get involved and ask for help when you need it.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you guys. It's been lovely to hear all your advice. And yes, don't forget to join our student support group on Facebook, and I'm sure our course reps will be really looking forward to speaking to you on there very soon. So Thank you for listening.
Bye bye.
Thank you.